Okay, is there a motion to? Sorry.
Is there a motion to exit recess and enter into open session?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Not, we are back in open session.
Okay, we will continue, and we are at precinct 44, which we have 44-1 and 44-2. 44-1 is at it's College West Township, and they are at the municipal building in College. So they have notated 3 provisional ballots, and there are indeed 3 envelopes, and they are all full count.
Okay.
The next one is the bulk of our
44-2.
provisional ballots from the Bryce Jordan Center.
The envelope notates 172. And we do have them. This one is a partial count, no congressional.
Partial count, no congressional.
Reject cast absentee ballot in Chester County.
Another one like that one we just had.
Yes.
Reject incomplete affidavit.
So that would go to Betsy.
But according to Betsy's ruling, both signatures are there. Oh, you guys can.
We have to go back through all of those. We're gonna have to be consistent.
Yes.
Incomplete affidavit. This group, I believe, is all full count. 1, 2, 3.
I don't know how to turn it down.
Oh, just there's a button on the
It
top.
doesn't work. It turns it all the way down, but it's still loud.
7, 8, 9,
Okay.
It must be something in
10,
looking.
11, full count.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I did the button all the way down.
This pile are rejects not registered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. I'm gonna ban them.
What put 44's?
There's a log jam being created.
These are so registered in Pennsylvania County other than Senate, so they're rejected. 1,
Did you get it?
2, 3,
Sorry.
No, you're good.
5, 6,
Couple of stacks to your left there.
7, 8, 9, 10,
I assume this is 44. Right.
Yeah.
44 dash.
It's going to be a high percentage of rejected.
Do the stacks crisscross mean anything?
They were just in tens.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And just for purposes of, this is what the old one looked like. It's still valid, but this is, so we went from this to this. So,
We were running low on supplies,
Yeah.
that's why they supplemented.
So this is all the full counts for that entire 44-2
They are all the full counts, correct?
There's a lot of partials.
on 6 compared to the rest of the staff.
There's also a lot of rejected. That's typical for
On campus,
yeah.
those are
We
just,
maintain a very liberal policy on accepting these on campus, just to make sure we don't miss anybody who is a legitimate voter.
When you're done going through that account, I'd ask permission to be able to speak briefly about that. When you're done going through your account, that's an opportunity to do quick.
that would be with that one. I think, yeah, it would be at the discretion of the chair. So I think once we're done this one, might be a good time.
Sure.
But these are all rejected because they are registered as another county in the Commonwealth.
Did anybody success or also have a ballot received in the Shore system, or all of these are?
Right,
Okay.
now those are what you would not necessarily, well, you would have them, but I didn't have to create any of those labels. The only ones that already had a ballot was the naked.
Right. So we've already forwarded, I think, 2 provisional ballots of people who.
I have not found anyone else in that situation.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
I believe these are
So
the
far, you still have
ballots or
30,
class
360.
Yeah, about 35, yeah.
using
I
the
need help.
All right.
So these will be a partial count with everything but the legislative race.
These are all going back to Jody after you take a look.
There's a big
Okay.
pile.
Okay. Again, just packs of 10.
No, just on the bottom, I don't think, that doesn't apply to the ones in the bottom. That might be,
Oh, okay.
might count as individual.
Okay. But these are still rejections. These are still rejections. Okay.
I believe so. When you're done, though, these will be partial ones.
Well, it's not going to quit. There's a live meeting with the
Down. I can stand. Wow. That'd be no problem. That's right. You're gonna run out of fingers. Now, before we begin with the next one, we're gonna entertain a question here just a moment. Pardon me?
Can we get like the actual number of how many we just rejected?
In this batch,
Yes.
as soon as we get them all collated here.
This is partial count stuff.
Yeah, they're the partials.
Okay.
We're gonna
Okay.
recount.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a pile of them over here as well. So whoever wants
Yeah, keep all the rejected from 44 too.
Yes,
Together.
they're all right here.
Yeah.
I just have them separated by reason.
And if you would like, Chris, Wendy, Laura, any of them, they're doing something I think over there, but you could always draft them to, Do any-
Once we pull those aside, they can count.
you know.
Okay, do you want me to bring one of them over?
Sure, I think they'd be happy to help. They are doing some paperwork over there now, but
Okay.
yeah, these are partials, yeah. So these are all rejected there.
Now moving on to the partial.
Oh, I think, over on the, yeah, well, we can maybe move the two chairs this way or tables that way.
If you sign this.
We could even do this for
Oh, you're here. I remember.
That'll wait till Jody can get through with the chair right here. Yeah.
No, I don't know what I'm doing, so you're telling me that, right?
Yeah, they're gonna give you, envelope.
Just the envelope.
Okay, we're gonna take just a break for a moment, and whenever Mark is done.
Are they part of the? No, these are.
Those are partials.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, I entertain a question from the.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Aaron Brooks. I just want to say, one, I feel like I'm compelled to advocate on behalf of the person who voted twice. I'd just like to point out in the procedures for workers for provisional ballots, if someone comes to the polling place and says, "Oh my God, I'm not sure if I put the secrecy ballot on, what do I do?" The guidance to the judge of elections, if the voter believes he or she is not returned or cast a ballot successfully, they're instructed that they shall provide this person a provisional ballot. So if there's any kind of situation where the DOS guidance to the election board and commission here could in any way caused her to vote this second ballot, I think that should be taken into consideration when we're talking about passing this on to this attorney's office and potentially costing the person legal fees in a defense if it was just something potentially that the judge of elections that's at the precinct may have actually been. So I just wanted to put that out there and the guidance itself.
That's certainly reasonable.
Okay. Second, I would like to talk about, unfortunately, at the BJC, we do have a large student population, obviously. And obviously, there was a very large balance of provisional ballots there. I know Commissioner Gershom was there for a good portion of the day, not all of the day, and saw the chaos that was going on there.
Yeah.
There is under Pennsylvania jurisprudence, under NRA general election 126 Commonwealth 450 in 1989, it is generally accepted that a late registration can be accepted under exigent circumstances, such as a pandemic and not getting your ballots from the postal service, which is not your fault, obviously. So in these kind of situations, it can be, if a registration can be accepted, and so could potentially a change of address. Since this person is already registered in the state of Pennsylvania in a different location, they can be then accepted. You can have a late name change at that point. In fact, I believe it is 1322. In-person registration and name changes can be given to the commissioner, and that can be accepted by the commissioner at that point. So obviously Commissioner Dershowitz was there and was talking to these students. And I just want to also point out, a lot of these students, I talked to some of them afterwards, and they all felt like they were heard by you and you understood their frustrations. So I just want to say thank you for that, because they came out of there feeling like they were heard and their frustrations were listened to. So I do want to thank you for that. But I believe that under the law, that the commission here can accept these ballots for the top of the line for statewide commission. Within the voting code, I believe 1501, typically if you are not allowed, if you've moved, you can vote in your old precinct, right? In this situation, though, this is written before we had mail-in ballots and where you would have to go to your previous precinct. We now have mail-in ballots, so essentially when the post office does not deliver your mail-in ballot, your precinct is not opening up. So what these students are doing, and they all qualify under 2814 and 2811 for residency requirements and elector qualifications to register in Central County. According also to Sloan v. Smith, the court case that said that students are allowed to obviously vote in their student residence. So I'd like this to advocate for them to be able to count their votes, because if you accept their votes at this point, you're not diluting any legislative ballot, because only the top of the line ticket which would be voted for situations is being counted. And just from franchise,
Trying to stay high one in your logic file?
Yeah. I'd just like to advocate for them on that behalf, since the commissioner was there and able to accept that. So, Commissioner, you have the opportunity here to enfranchise those ballots that were.
The dog is barely running. The dog is like walking in.
Refer to our solicitor as to the
The
proper,
dog's like pretty far past the guy.
just like fellow commissioner.
The dog's pulling the guy.
Well, in terms of how the provision, as Betsy had stated, or just earlier, there would be a hearing that could be for any challenge. So if you are indeed challenging or
Challenging the rejection.
right, you're challenging the rejections. I appreciate your points that you're raising today, but my understanding is that the hearing, those would be the type of arguments we would hear at the hearing, as this is just let's get them processed as quickly as possible.
Yes, I understand.
No, but I do think it's a good prelude, a good, just intro.
And the
Yeah,
issue is that
yeah.
you would be entering a formal challenge. That's what the board has to get to not give us that. And I'm okay with that. It's just, you need a formal challenge. Now, as a matter of course, prior to this election,
Right.
I'm unaware of any challenge to a provisional ballot on that basis. Meaning that what you did at the
I don't,
Rice Drink
yeah.
Center is the same thing you did in 2016. Meaning that if they were registered in another county, we were not canvassing those ballots.
I don't think that, from what I can see, there's not a limit or a threshold that must be met in order to challenge a ballot. That's right. It's just where I'd like to challenge the rejection.
Oh
or
no,
something.
I understand that. I'm just saying that for purposes
Oh
of
yeah,
what
of course.
you just walked through, that is exactly the process that the provisional board walked through in 2016.
Yeah,
Just so
yeah,
we're clear.
yeah. But again, with the advent of mail-in ballots, advent of the pandemic, it is.
But this is a caveat. Every judge of elections had the opportunity, and most of them did, to contact us when a voter came to them presented as not in their poll book and therefore having voted. And we advised them, we looked in the system, as you now have done post-election, if that person was marked as voted, we told them not to give them a provisional ballot.
Right,
Under
but,
the guidance of the election code, they are not to get a provisional ballot.
But the vast majority of these did not vote in their home district. They did not vote a mail-in ballot. They just came there and said, "I'd like to vote."
I'd like to vote here.
And,
Right.
yeah,
But then that makes them no different than the people in 16 who voted here provisionally, but were otherwise registered somewhere else.
Correct.
That's my point.
But I don't know. Were there many in those other precincts?
I don't know, but you're opening the door if you're going to advocate
But-
for their late registrations. You have to do it across the county.
No, but what? No. Well,
You were saying about late
Right.
registrations. Then you now have to restart
There's a series
the
of
entire
issues
process
here,
of
right?
all the rejected, not registered.
But again, I think we would have to hear you want to do a formal challenge for us to hear this. I just essentially wouldn't be ready to say yes or no, and we'd have to hear more about it from that standpoint because it's a large quantity. Yeah, that's my thing. So I wouldn't be able to say yes or no today. I'd like a little bit more details on it. But if we would want to challenge it, we would have to set that date. And I think we also need to the best of our ability, let the voter themselves.
You're obligated to let the voter know. Under the code, if you
Yes.
have a challenged provisional ballot, you are obligated to let the voter know.
Shall be given where possible. Right.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, thank you.
So is it just avocation at this point or formal? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Thank you for being on.
Sure. All right, we're moving on.
We are now in precinct 45, which is North Curtin, and they have indicated no out provisionals, which is, they are a very small precinct. Curtin South, which is another precinct 46, which is another very small precinct, 0. They have none. Precinct 47, which is Ferguson North 1, they have indicated 4, and we have 1 to be investigated further or further research done on it. So we should have 3 here. And we do, in fact, have 3. And they are all 3 full count. Precinct 4 North, which is 48, they have indicated 7 provisional ballots. There are indeed 7 envelopes. And they are all full count. Precinct 49, 1 and 2, which is split on their legislative districts. They have indicated 15, and they would all be within, and there is 1 pulled out for the research, so we should have 14.
That's the one that's split into 3 legislative districts?
Yep.
Good.
And we do have 14. And they are all full count. Precinct 50, Ferguson Township Northeast 2, they have indicated 4 provisionals. And we have 4 envelopes. And they are all full count. 51, Ferguson Township. They have indicated 5.
How many were in this batch? 4?
Yeah. There's 1 for that. They have indicated 5. There are 5 envelopes. Four full count, 1 partial count, congressional district. '52, Ferguson West. 4.
Partial on this one.
And they are all full count. 53, Greg Township, they indicate 15. We have one pulled for further research, so we have 14. And there are 14 envelopes. And all are full count. 54, Haynes Township, they indicate 6. And there are 6. And they are all full count.
Okay, so just out of curiosity with this one, there's a note here that says, oop, we're getting a few here that have that. Yep, okay. Let's see. It says, at start of day, did not have small green envelope official provisional ballot. So in this one, this one, this one. You can clearly see the ballot. This one. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 provisional ballots from Greg Township that have naked envelopes. So assuming these will not count, correct?
Well, or how are they marked on the outside?
They're marked fine.
Well, I think technically you should put all, if they're marked to be counted,
Right.
put them in full count, and then when you go through that process, you will note them as being named.
But it is where if it's a naked ballot, they do not count.
Yes, it is right here in the.
Okay, all right. Okay, so
But I would still
Joyce
put
has
them,
labels to make new notes on there,
Okay.
so I can.
I would still put them in the full count.
but I think my point is that the supply box did not have any small ballots. That small envelopes. Is that accurate? No, I know, but were there any calls? It looks like they would have at a certain point in the day called in to get the rest in small envelopes.
Yes, I think we did send our rover.
We sent rovers out with more stuff.
Yes.
Multiple times. And those directors knew that they they would call us and say, we're running out of the interior envelopes, please send them out. I took several of those calls.
The way that they've stated is they didn't have any.
When they started the day.
The way it started the day didn't have any envelopes.
I don't know, there seems to
No,
be
they
quite
would've
a few
had
places
it at
that
the
couldn't
beginning
find stuff until later in the day.
That's a common.
I'm not trying to be smart, but
My concern though is eliminating an individual's vote based on the
I understand.
Yeah, but
actions of inaction of a board.
But again, that goes back to everybody who didn't sign twice. That goes back to the inaction of the judge of elections, not to say you signed it correctly. So we'd have to be thoughtful about that.
I think the biggest
Okay.
thing you have to take out of this is that we have to really work with these judges and insist that some one person, even if it isn't the judge of elections, trained on their team to know exactly how this works. And they're there all day.
That's why at the Bryce Jordan Center, to go back to the previous, there was a process room that everybody was through, and those individuals stood at their station
Right.
throughout the course of the day, and it was quite a
You've
dynamic.
established with those big precincts, where it used to be one separate, they're now together. You guys really set up a process for the provisional thing, which was smart because you do have a lot more of that there. But at these smaller precincts, they haven't always had nearly the number.
Same people, although we do, when we have training, we always get that provisional. It's just in the manual. I mean, they're all over the map with it.
Well, I think we gotta also remind them of the consequences.
Yeah.
I think we tell them the process, but I think we also have to remind them, if these things don't happen, the board is not able under the statute to do certain things.
Okay, thank you.
Half Moon Proper, number 55, and they indicate 13. And there are 13 envelopes. Rejected.
Lack of signature.
They're all full counts. Six. So this indicates we have 28. There are 3 being further researched on, so we should have 25. Which one didn't you count?
Oh, I'm sorry. I neglected to do that. I'll try and be better.
Yeah, 2 in the morning.
I purposely didn't count 44 because that was, I don't have enough fingers and toes
Yeah.
for that one.
And we do have 20. 26. Yeah, maybe I wasn't paying attention.
I'll double check my
Twenty. 21. That'd be right. 25, right?
Correct.
All right. Reject.
This would be a full count, but it's an exceptional circumstance. And recognize that.
That's a reject, not registered. This is a partial count, no congressional, and these are all full counts.
The rejected one. That is a partial count.
All right, so I think Fish fits this one.
Rejected and then partial count. Partial count now.
I believe are all in the full count category. 22 fulls.
Yeah. Okay. 115, yeah. Rejects it.
Yes, the number of rejects at the Bryce Jordan is 115.
Okay.
Where it stays or
Is there any reason to have Laura stay or?
I think we're good with the count for right now. Yes,
Yes,
we're good.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura.
Are there any more precincts that we need to identify?
as far as.
No,
We're caught up with where
the
where you
56,
are.
yes.
Okay,
So how many more do you have then?
57 through 91. So I think that's, I did my mouth before I left on 35.
Okay.
Which-
Oh, go ahead. please.
no, so which probably is a significantly smaller number than what we did.
Absolutely, yeah. I actually started with the BJC because I knew it was going to be my biggest.
Right.
So I started there
Yeah.
and then went to 1 and up through there.
Yeah,
So.
we're good.
Okay, so what is the will of the board to proceed?
The two options would be just to break here and then on Monday process everything that's over there after we go through 57 through 91, or we could start processing them today. But I'm thinking it's
I would process them all together, and that way, if there are challenges, they're all challenged from the same date, meaning that you have 7 days to have the hearing, and that way it's a clean process. All the challenges will be heard on the same day. Because the process then is challenges are placed, whether they are general challenges or individual challenges, on the record. Those voters are notified to the extent practical, which should be done.
Sure.
And the board then sets a day, set within 7 days, to hear the challenges on the provisional ballots. You have to have a stenographer. We'll have to arrange that. And then at that point, the board will make a decision on the challenges. Any challenger then has 2 days to appeal to the Court of Conflict. Because that way, all of it's resolved before you do your final report.
Right.
10 days after next Tuesday. I always think, I love the code, right? It's not dates, it's 10 days after.
So what we're hearing essentially is that by collecting all the ballots together, they will run in a similar time frame for any
Yeah,
challenge.
I think then you would only have one time set aside to have to hear all the challenges.
Right.
As opposed to having to have 2 different days.
Okay.
That would be my advice.
And Letitia, you will have by Monday.
Yeah, I'm gonna
The
go
rest
back
of-
over and start working.
Okay. I do not have my agenda
I
got
need a copy.
Yeah,
consumed somewhere.
What you need?
The agenda.
I think it's in
Oh,
there.
I have one right here.
Yeah, there's an extra copy.
Oh, okay, I just want to make sure. Is there anything else in regard to the provisional ballots that we need to discuss? Other than we need to seal them up.
Yeah.
And separate them.
Yeah.
And just for the record, we are in compliance with the Commonwealth Court decision to separate the other ballots out.
She has made you in compliance by separating those out. Yes, that's correct.
And Michael, you had a total of ballots that came in.
Yeah.
You might as well cover all those bases all at once. I'll let you read because
We
Okay.
might have increased, that was mid-afternoon, and Sam did stay till 5. I think I sent Betsy the new one,
okay.
but it
Well,
wasn't
that's not-
broken out just like
I
that.
think you could announce those on Monday unless you want to do it now because they made.
well, we can give a rough number. You know, it's still an estimate.
We can say as Friday, so yesterday at 12:24 p.m., a little bit after noon, we had 119 ballots that we've received since the 8 p.m. deadline on Tuesday until, so again, as of noon, that's how many we received. We had 118 with a postmark, with some postmarks that were from October. And then we had one that was without a postmark. So a total of 119, but again, there was 4.5 ballots. Yeah.
And that you can choose as the board to make that list public. You have created an Excel spreadsheet that shows the voter's name, when the postmark is, and so forth.
Just for the purpose today, this is informational. So that's the knowledge of what we have in case there was curiosity. So to go back to the issue, any issues with the provisional ballots today, and are we satisfied with sealing the boxes and having them in the custody of the election staff in the interim? Mark, do you have enough? How many boxes are we going to need to achieve that?
They sit right down in the.
Well, it depends. I'd say what's probably they need at least 2 bins because Marshall and the one that needs to be potentially scanned aren't taking up a lot of space.
Right.
But full counts, that's almost 2 full mailboxes.
Okay, so we had.
Are they on
Yes. I would suggest maybe just everyone. I mean, the rollers can accept 5 of them. So if we have 4, I'd just say put them in its own separate one. And
Yes.
just,
Good idea.
2 more.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
all right, because if we can dump these in without being in the box, do these fit the wide way?
No, they don't.
No?
No.
You sure?
Oh, I think we want to keep them in
Yeah,
there.
you want to keep.
Okay,
Yeah,
in the bins?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, where do you want these? You want them up there?
Yeah, please.
we have the car. We have 2 bins, and we need the seals.
So where's your bin?
Tish is getting them.
Yeah, we
Oh,
need-
Tish is getting them and seals.
we'll need 8 seals.
Yep, she's
I
getting
can
them.
show that it's empty.
Oh, yeah.
And these are the full ones you're putting in there.
Yeah.
No, Tish is getting them. These ones are just going to be.
So what do you need, full count?
To go through them and verify which ones they're accepting and not accepting.
And for the record, when will we be reconvening this count?
9 a.m. Monday.
9 a.m.
So we're not gonna go to the
Hands home.
opening ceremony.
We have all.
There's the, Father's Mills.
All right. Tisha, do you mind showing those to the camera and just reading them aloud?
Sure. So two of the serial numbers are 004483, 004496. How do I make it big? How do I show it?
Right there, but it's the numbers have to show up. Yep. Perfect. There we go.
One. Perfect. Go on our first box.
This is the Regents. And the ones.
How many more sets you got?
So let's seal this one up first. That's all the full counts, Mark?
Hang on.
No, there's a whole box.
Oh, okay. Okay. Can they fit on top?
Put in the middle bits there.
No, we need to.
Yep. We need to. Got
They
it.
just need,
Okay.
are those serial numbers going on, what one's
We
that?
want them on there first.
Yeah,
we should go
These are the ones you just read.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
We're
let's
the
see.
first one.
All right. First one's there. Okay.
All right. So, facing 4496. And the rear.
What are those? Tisha? What numbers are those?
So this one's 004387, 004467.
Facing 4483 in the front.
Other end.
Other than that, like, wait, this is.
Yep, there you go.
So we will have.
Push those things down so you don't take your eye.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
So the next set of numbers are 004387 and 004467.
Yeah. All right, we have our empty,
Is it to the over there?
These are the
we have
Regents.
our empty container here.
This is for. the
This one
other
here.
set
This
of
is
the
for the
full
other
count.
set with the
Can I see the
full
numbers? Oh, it's a full.
We have all day, Steve.
We have all day every day.
Yeah, we're the Rejects.
They're the rejects. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, you got to do Elvis.
I know.
Placing 4387 to the rear. 4467. All right, next one.
Next.
Are we doing? Yeah, we just need an empty one over here. Do we have an empty one? Gray one?
Let's do the.
No, she was just getting the seals. So
Let's
we
do the rejects while
Okay,
we're waiting
all
for
right.
that.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
004457 004500.
And there's just one rejection bin, right?
Yeah, these have the envelopes, questionable, plus the rejected. Actually.
There's the tape for that one. Thank you, Jody. Thank you.
Well, you're gonna win. You're gonna call enough numbers, you're gonna win.
We did have a question. Why were no tape receipts left at the precinct doors after the election? Yeah, when the legislature passed Act 77, it no longer required the tape receipts to be left at the precincts. But, okay.
Okay, the final box receiver.
004493 004489.
And that's for partials? What do you want? Which one?
Partials, and then we have one that needs to potentially be scanned. That was a special.
Oh,
case.
okay. Okay.
We'll just give it a fish.
Let's see.
In the box. I want to check with the board because we have the one ballot that needed to be potentially scanned.
Yeah, is that?
That was the
Or-
one where
or
they.
it may have been scanned. We're
It
not
may
sure.
have been
That's the
scanned,
one. Yeah,
we
we're not.
don't know.
We could check the digital records for that.
Right, yeah, that one, they would have to check.
I don't think we need to seal it. I think it could just be referred to Jody for her to check into. That's okay.
And then I guess if it actually was scanned, that would, y'all would have to.
Right, right.
All right, so this one's the partials. Placing 4489 in the back.
Yes. 4493 should be fine.
And 4493 in the front.
Okay, so just to, all the ballots are in those 4 bins, save for the one that's in your hand. Betsy, you have no ballots
I
on
have
your
no
person.
ballots. I have no ballots.
There are no other ballots.
The only ballots I think that you were the ones you took, Tisha, right? Or did they go in the bins too?
No, they did not, because I need to make sure.
So the only other,
Can we move the bin?
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay. That's okay. It's just a stack of bins.
I'm gonna push them right over here.
Yeah. Excellent. Super.
Okay. Is there anything else to come before the provisional ballot counting? Betsy, fellow board members, any?
Specifically for the provisional ballots, I don't have anything. I did have one other thing I'd like us to look at on the agenda that was a letter to our federal and state legislators. I can address it whenever you'd like me to.
So, are there any other questions or concerns in regard to the provisional ballot process?
And then I'll look for any online here.
Yeah.
Any questions online? Last questions here? And maybe again, just as a wrap up, so we still have 57 through 91 to do Monday to look at, and then we will then process those. We also have the 76 ballots that we had forwarded to Betsy to look at. We also then have the potential for those ballots received from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock on Friday that we'd be looking at as well. So Monday will be a really packed day, and for provisionals and also military overseas as well. Any that we may receive there. So yeah. Yep.
We have already processed the military and overseas that we received as of Thursday. Am I correct?
We have received some.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then you said you just take care of those Monday.
Right. We'll add that into the conversation as well.
And it might just be noteworthy, Michael, the totals that you had on the received after the deadline, some of those were not postmarked in time. So they were received before 5 o'clock on Friday, but they did not have.
You did have later closed.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like
Oh, okay.
I
So
had
I see. So 5 of the postmarks were November 4th. That's late. Okay. Thank you.
She did a
Okay.
spreadsheet and broke each thing out.
That is noteworthy.
That is
So maybe
okay.
ask
So we have, of the 119, we have 1 that is without postmark and 5 that is postmarked on the 4th of November. So that is, and then that would reduce the total to 113, 113 of, 112 postmarks prior to November 3rd.
As of noon on Friday.
As of noon on Friday, correct, yes. Yep.
So, no further business in regarding the provisional ballots. I'll turn it over to you, Michael, to discuss the letter to the legislature.
Sure. So as we all know, our legislators here in Center County from a federal and state level receive many constituent calls. Many times they will call. I feel bad for them right now because probably their phones are lighting up with questions about the elections process when they, of course, set the legislation and the code in partnership with the governor. But in terms of carrying out and administering it, that's us. So it's essentially just a letter, so the public also is aware of this, that we could send out potentially on Monday at our meeting that would essentially just say, number one, if there's voter fraud or complaints about voter fraud that they're receiving, and also from a public standpoint, they can email the elections office or call them. Then in addition, there's been questions about, well, how do we follow the counts? How do we follow what's going on? And it just stipulates in the letter that we have set up centercountyvotes.com that will have the 31-hour videos from the vote by mail processing room, in addition to the recording of all the live streaming events that we've had here in this room so far, in addition to any future election meetings. And Chad, I believe you had spoken with him about putting basically the next meeting time on the website. So he did that for this one. He will update that once this is concluded, he'll update that for the Monday meeting at 9 a.m. Once that's concluded, he'll update it for the 3 p.m. on Tuesday. So, and then going forward, if we need it, we obviously will need more election meetings for final official count. But my thinking on this is just sending it to them, and they can use this as a template. Whenever voters are calling in, they can just direct them to them. I think it's important that we're essentially saying to them, we feel your pain, just please direct them to us, and we can take care of it.
My suggestion is I would read the letter aloud.
Sure.
And we take action on it today.
You want to do that? Okay,
Yes.
Sure. Okay, so dear Senator, Congressman, Majority Leader, and Representative, so that would either be Casey or Toomey, Thompson, Keller, Majority Leaders Corman, Majority Leader Benninghoff, and then Representatives Berowitz, Conklin, and Urban. As Center County and the rest of Pennsylvania is grappling with the aftermath of the 2020 general election, it's important that we are all heading in the same direction and discussing where we are all at as much as possible. We write to you out of partnership and collaboration as we continue to count the votes cast by our shared constituents. You and your office, no doubt, are receiving many calls and emails regarding election issues, and we wanted to share some insight into how we are proceeding with counting the votes and how our residents can track the progress. First, if you or your office should receive complaints regarding voter fraud in Center County, please forward them to the Center County Board of Elections at elections@centercountypa.gov or 814-355-6703. Next, if you or your office should receive concerns about transparency of how votes have been counted and are being counted in Center County, please refer constituents to centercountyvotes.com, where a recording from 3 different camera angles of our pre-canvassing room at the Penn Stater will soon be available. This recording, and then also this is a recording of a live stream that was available from 6 a.m. on Tuesday, November 3rd into late afternoon on Wednesday, November 4th. Moreover, we have posted the videos of all of our election board, returns board, and provisional ballot board meetings on the website as well. For all future election meetings, anyone can watch the proceedings and participate by clicking on the live election board meeting icon on the website. Lastly, we are happy to answer any questions that voters have about the next steps in this process. If you or anyone in your office have any further questions regarding anything related to elections or any other matter related to Center County government, please do not hesitate to reach out. We appreciate all you do for the residents of Center County and Pennsylvania. Center County Board of Elections.
Comments in regard to that letter from the audience? I think it's an appropriate way of expressing what our intent is and what this resolution is, some of their issues might be when they're dealing with constituents.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I think there's consensus. We can send this to Natalie, and she can send that out at her earliest convenience. Okay.
I would.
It's fine, well worded, and it expresses that if anyone does have any information regarding voter fraud, that we are the appropriate contact for that initial information.
Okay.
I appreciate that. And certainly I think, as this process goes on, we will try to remain as transparent as possible through all the technology and available resources that we have. And I also want to say before we adjourn, thank you to everybody who's not only in the room today and has taken time out of a beautiful Saturday, but also the folks at home who are watching this and really caring about the future of our county and the future of our representative democracy. So.
Sure. Okay. So, and then we did have a few questions here. There was somebody who is wanting us to investigate the reports of Center County Post Office's backdating ballots or backdating the outer return envelope. I don't think there's any ballots that have been backdated, but in terms of the return envelope, so there's been an allegation here that that's occurring. So
I would direct people with those kinds of allegations to either speak to the district attorney, or if it's a U.S. Post Office issue, it's a federal issue, not a state issue.
They have a postal inspection.
Yes.
Yes.
Inspection bureau. That's correct.
That is.
But I know they can reach out to the district attorney, or they
Please.
can reach out to the federal
Postal inspectors.
well, postal inspectors, but also the federal state. Not getting the name right, but there are federal attorneys who are hired by the Department of Justice.
Okay.
To be reached out.
U.S. attorney.
Yes.
Okay. So just to clarify, U.S. attorney, district attorney, and then there's a postmaster inspector office that you should reach out and contact to, and it's where we would not be able to do the investigation. We refer it to them. Right.
That actually would get investigated by the FBI.
Right. So yeah. And then Chris is also asking if we're going to be referring the individuals who had voted twice to the district attorney, and that was our suggestion at that point, was to send it to them. Yep.
I appreciate the comments that were made earlier. But I think for the purpose of this, it may well be that the district attorney looks at this and summarily, this is any wrong.
I think it gives you a separate.
Yes.
The district attorney has been in close contact with the board, has been here on election day, has been aware of what his obligations are. I don't think he will necessarily take action, but I think it gives you an investigative view of this as opposed to.
It gives us a clear path forward when we have to deal with these issues.
I suspect that he will be talking with other county district attorneys. It will not just be Center County that saw this, and they will collectively handle it.
Right. Okay. Moving ahead past the letter, no old business, any items for discussion?
There's one I just wanted to return to the earlier conversation we had prior to that discussion. If that's okay.
Yep. Sure.
Okay. So over the break, I went through my emails to look at this email that had been sent out by Jonathan Marks at 8:38 had been sent to me. It was not addressed to me. It was addressed to our elections office, and I did not receive a copy of it.
I appreciate that very much.
So if I had received this either directly or indirectly through a forward, we would have absolutely implemented this. And so it was basically an ask policy. If you wanted to see something, we'd get it for you. But if this had been in place, it would have been a different outcome. We've worked for 3 months to establish what happened up there. The last thing I'd want to do is to on the cusp of this to cause any issues. And so if there are individuals that are out there that do not feel like they were given access, my apologies. But the Department of State, again, we knocked the Department of State. They're under the gun. But if they're sending out an email at 9 p.m., essentially 10 hours before polls open and we can start our count, we're busy getting ready and not checking our emails. But I understand the concern you have, Commissioner, and we'll do better in the future.
Well, in this case, I appreciate your comments. I would hope that in the future, our relationship with particularly the Department of State, it is unreasonable to assume that we can comply with their guidance and their wishes. And this is so untimely. I mean, almost unseeming. I mean, this is, and I don't know what generated this conversation, and I certainly, but 8:38 on the night before the election for us to institute policy is a huge stretch. So
now this clarifies why we were seeing York County, why they were doing this. Because I was wondering why would York County be good? But they probably read this and said, that's how we do it.
Well, I think there's probably more to the backstory than we're well aware.
Could be.
I think it
Could be.
explains though why some counties acted a certain way and others did not.
That would be fair.
But it's just, it was just unsettling to me that this event occurred. And,
So thank you for bringing it to our attention and, my attention at least, because I do want to clarify it. I do want to make sure we're in compliance in the
And
future.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I just have a comment because it's public and maybe voters are being contacted to go to the Votes PA website to see if they've voted. And that is only for mail-in and absentee ballots specifically.
Right.
So
Could you actually come closer to the show? Sorry.
Come up and
This is the microphone.
This is an important point that we've all fielded questions on, and there's a lot of
They can see you
misunderstanding.
there, but they'll hear you.
Okay. Our office has taken a lot of phone calls that were not sure who, but organizations are reaching out to voters to go to the Votes PA website, to the ballot tracker, and check and see if their election day vote has counted. That ballot tracker is specifically for absentee and mail-in votes. What we've been instructing our voters is, were you issued a ballot? Did you feed it into the reader? If those answers are yes, your ballot was counted on election day, no worries.
Center County has opted throughout the years to maintain a strip at the bottom of the ballot. It is numbered. And there are counties that don't use those. We, however, have traditionally, they're in numeric order. So if you are ballot number 250, that is where you appear on the voter log. So between looking at the machine, and it goes from 249 to 250, whatever happens to be, that is your guarantee and your assurance that your ballot has been cast.
And in addition, it would be written on a poll book next to the name. So
It's not part of the ballot, so you can't trace it back to the.
No, but it tells you that you did
The result
indeed
did what-
have a ballot in your hand with that number on it.
And the number list of voters, it would, to a certain degree, with spoiled ballots and whatnot. But yep.
So, all right. Any other questions from inside or outside the room?
We are getting some here, if that's okay. Yep. Okay. Can the elections board post a key for voters to understand the status of their ballot? What does pending mean? I do believe that it is available on the website. They do have a.
it is, but it's not 100% accurate. We can't answer the rhymes or reasons why, because we've had voters who call and say their status on the ballot tracker is still showing pending, but we did indeed receive it and credited their record of showing last voted 11-3. We know that there has been issues since before the primary with that ballot tracker, but some people's is fine, some people's aren't. Why or who, we don't know, but they certainly can check it, and if it still says pending, they can give us a call and we can verify, yes, it was indeed received, and your record has been updated.
And that's administered by the state.
Yes, that's through the shore system.
Yeah, with data from our office. So yeah. We did have a question about that would be the PA Secretary of State, Kathy Bookvar. The email came from Jonathan March, Deputy Secretary for Elections in the Department of State, but the Secretary of State is Kathy Bookvar. Yes. And that is all. Should the Elections Board provide that explanation on the site rather than having people call? We could. It is available on the mail-in ballot status checker, that what pending means, but we could put something out on our site. That's doable. Yep.
That's fair.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. Any other questions?
And maybe they mean as well, Michael, can't use that for election day tracking. Maybe they were referencing that as well on the site.
That's fair enough. Yep, that's fair enough.
All right. Under election announcements, the election return board will meet on Monday, November 9th at 9 a.m. The election return board will meet again on Tuesday, November 10th at 3 p.m. Is the second meeting, that's a firm number depending on, or is it depending on how much work is yet to be done?
I think it's a good stop, kind of a placeholder, just for us to do the official results. Unofficial returns, we have to get in by 5 o'clock. I think it's a good placeholder. If there are any military ballots, if we receive a handful on Tuesday, we could potentially open 5 or 10 of them. I think that's.
They might also
Yes.
run them in later in the day.
Right.
It used to be traditionally
Oh,
they
yeah.
come in the mail, but especially with this ballot deadlines and stuff, we may have some right before 5.
I think if we're in session in here from 3 to 5 and just doing whatever business we need to do, an open session essentially, I think that'd be appropriate.
That'll extend slightly past 5. because
Of course, yes,
We have to
of
be
course.
here until 5 to
Of course.
accept ballots. And at that point,
Of course. Yes. Yes. Yep.
okay. So those two times for the next meeting are noted. Is there anything else to come before the board this afternoon? Okay. I want to say thank you to
Yes.
everyone.
Thank you.
Again, it's this whole process. We've gone out of our way, I think, to be as transparent as we can be. And thank you for all your consideration for social distancing and making sure that we're being healthy in this process. So, is there a motion at this time to adjourn?
I would make the motion.
Adjourn or recess?
I think we can do
Recess.
Would you like us to recess?
it. Okay.
Okay.
Session till its final certification.
Okay. All right.
I'll make the motion to recess.
I will second the motion.
Properly moved and second. Any other discussion on the recess? Not? We are in recess. Thank you.
I told Natalie I was down with the chair.